Thank you very much for organizing this meeting. Thank you very much for understanding and appreciating to have this meeting put together. Thank you. My name is Khurram, and I've been in the business for 20 years. And I born in Karachi, Pakistan. And at the early childhood, at the age 4, my father passed away of a sudden heart attack. And I was the youngest of 6 siblings. So all my life, I was thirsty for knowledge, care, and love. And whoever, offered me the education, my uncles, aunts, teachers, scholars, I just grab it and listen and, learn things in my life. And then when I came to Canada, I got studied here and then moved to Detroit, Michigan, and Wayne State University. I studied there. And then I decided to come back because the culture States is different than here. So, and then I started my business, and the rest is history. So all along my life, I was trying to do better than what I did yesterday kind of mindset. And with that, I've been through many things in my business life, in my personal life, in a kid's life, and there were some challenges. But last year particularly was the pinnacle of problems, you can say, in my life, when one of the great human beings who was our client, Raymond, was from HVAC business. He was working, and everything was going good. And suddenly he started coming into me and saying, Khurram, I'm building some issues. I say, how can I assist? And I always open myself more than I should, or I could in my capacity, not only as a project manager or the director, but as a consultant, as a helper to assist people wherever I can. So with that, I was trying to listening to him and all that, and he was getting stressed out due to the business management, and he couldn't understand the capacity, what he was going through. And observing him and also recovering from the COVID, that was the transition time between 24, 25. That man was good. And then I realized when he was going for help in emergencies or to the doctors, they were just checking vitals and letting him go. And there was more than normal science can be able to do something about it to fix him or give him the treatment. But our medical institutions and our society is not fully ready to understand in the capacity how to serve people to the inner core. And that kind of counseling, we were meeting early morning before he was going on the job, just meet, I will just meet. I said, how could I say no? Okay, let's meet. We're meeting at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. before he goes on his truck, or we're meeting at a late night. I couldn't sleep. So that counseling him, and I directed to him to the CFOC, Dose of Compassion too as well, and other therapists and my knowledge. But it was very chaotic, and my sisters were going through the health problem back home too. So it causes the negative impact on myself. I lost the focus on the business, and I couldn't be able to concentrate on the things, and I got worried, very worried, that what I've seen in my client may not happen to me. So I start we get students all the time from all 4 schools, high schools in HX, because we are the tech company and we are do the services in the tech sector. So we are the hard company that we attract the students. So last year was the only year I said no to the students in summer and fall. I took time off and I gave time to the nature, to my children. I went to the park. Time wasted, yes, but my life shouldn't be wasted. So through this, I was the journey of balance. And through this, I was doing a study and all that. Happened to be, luckily, with the God's will, we got the client who's in the naturopathic business. So we served him in 24, but when my health was declining, I approached him. I said, doctor, I just don't want to go through what my client went through. So what you can do? So he said, okay, let's do some testing. So through naturopathic medicine, connecting to nature, connecting to family, and connecting to God brought me some solutions. And from this year, I got better, thank God. And with this, I'm coming to the conclusion, in order to obtain great health, happiness, prosperity, and sense of calmness, we need the eternal peace in our lives. And without that peace, it is hard to find yourself in the full control mode that you can say. It's like your car is running, but something is bothering. Like, brakes are not good, suspension is not good, maybe tires are misaligned. So you're driving, but it's not focused. You always have to put pressure on the hand. So something is off. So with this, I came up with the theory of peace. And the theory of peace is very simple. And same time, God brought me, I was there, Caitlin, for a very short time. I came towards the end, but I attended, and I got the diagram of theory of change by Doors of Compassion. It was very nicely put. So I was reading that too. So that talks to me as well. So it was the words, but the words are good when you try to speak to someone. So I speak to my family and all that. This is, yeah, okay, just try, give yourself more time and talk to more people. So I did talk to more people, friends, family, journal. And lately, the last time I spoke to someone totally stranger was Tim Hortons Coffee in Scarborough. While I was waiting for my MD medical doctor's yearly checkup, it was 4 hours wait time. He's so wait time is so crazy. So I went to the Tim Hortons, and I saw Canadian man, sitting his name is Kyle, such a great man, great soul. But he was lonely and other guy was sleeping. So I explained the theory and they liked it. So it says a man who really needs some education, man who really needs some support. And I have some, things to, show to you towards the end of the presentation. But what is the theory of peace is? It's very simple, that God has given us the solution within our body, but we never put a time to realize that. And these are the 4 components of the theory we born with, and those 4 components we die with. But those 4 components are so simple to say, but hard to realize, understand, and optimize, or fully, calibrate, you can say, in a way that they work in coordination. And those components are heart, mind, body, and soul. And if you see the inception to creation of a man in the mother's womb as a fetus, the first organ is created was the heart. After that, brain is created. Then both of them work together to complete the body. And when the baby is ready and the mother is ready, then he or she baby is born. Spiritually, we believe that as soon as the heartbeat comes into the baby, it's alive. It has a soul. It is considered a body or entity. As the body gets completed, fine, but scientifically, medically, and on the legal grounds, it's still considered a fetus, not a human being yet. Until it's born and start taking breath, mature birth or premature birth, both angles, as long as the fetus become alive and start taking oxygen, inhaling and exhaling, is considered alive. And then they put him in the NICU, neonatal intensive care unit, and all that. So that time the soul is officially given, scientifically. So with the heart, mind, body, and soul development, God is telling us that we born with those elements in this order. And if you see all our life, Pastor, we live life, but we couldn't fully optimize them until we die. And when we die, the order reverse. When you die, your soul goes out from where? Body. What's the first organ died, which is not recoverable fully, is your brain. And the last organ, which has a chance, if you can do this fully professional CPR or put the defibrillator, you still have a chance to recover it. And there's some studies minute to minute and a half, heart can recover, but maybe brain couldn't, but the organs are working. That's where they put them in the ICU, and they use the term called brain dead, body functioning, but the brain is dead. So the order you come to this world, the order you exit, but you live your full life without understanding and optimizing it. So there's a gap. And this gap, I am fulfilling into myself. And if you see it, I'm getting into the shape, I lost the weight, and I was, patient. Even the fasting after 12 hours standing, I could wait another 20 minutes or an hour standing too, if more people would join the meeting. So this calmness seen by people of very, very high caliber, either it's scholars or pundits or preachers or monks, who live in the mountain and all that. But we can't go living in a mountain. We need to find a solution within our society and within our circumstances too. We cannot say we need a good weather. We need to be in Bahamas or Belgium, as the weather is great today, to be there and say, no, we need to find happiness, whatever is there. So I tell my students to, however the weather is, try to go out. And I came with the slogan with this, wave the snow, no to snow. So snow, you cannot stop me. So I say that, and a lot of people like it on Facebook, say no to snow. So I'll share with you another thing too towards the end. So with that, heart, mind, body, and soul are the core elements God gifted to us. We all live with it, and we all die with it. So with that, Sharon will distribute it. Just a simple diagram to show it to you. We choose the color scheme to be simple black and white because the life is black and white. We have a day and night, up and down, on and off. And we want to keep it simple because when you're counseling and consulting someone, you don't know what challenges is the problem they're going through. So simplicity is the key in wording, explanation, and diagram observation. Anything that they less inhale and more process is better for us. So with this, heart, mind, body, and soul, and we put it in the order too because some people can read it, but they don't understand. But what the numbers are, what the order is. So we put the numbers too, so they can be able to relate it to them. Why we put in the circle is the key because this is the earth we're born in. We haven't gone to the outside earth yet. So this is the earth we're living in. This is the earth representing. And earth have the energy within us humans. So that's what the human entity is. And I'm going to show you the prototype that we were working on before. So why we choosing a neutral sign of human sign? Because this is common sign available for bathrooms, airports, or any sign. This is a human area. This is, or maybe the robot's going to come in, work with us hand in hand one day. So there's going to be a robot area. So we want to simplify these things. And with that explanation, and we were trying different options, trying to explain our theory within those pages so we can be able to understand and make it understand to the people who need it and the counselors and the service providers like yourself. So when you're counseling them, you don't waste the time for the person to understand and digest it. You want a quick digestion, quick processing, and then make it easier for them. So simplicity is the key. So with that, have I tested the theory on people? Yes, on our student, because they spend more time than my own family. Because when I go home, after an hour, I'd go to bed. So I was talking to them. I was talking to my brother. And with that, I'm going to give the attention to our lady here. And she spent the past 3 weeks relentlessly working with me preparing this presentation. So thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Khurram, for your presentation. That was really nice. Again, my name is Sharon Kamalafet, and I'm just here to go into the depths of what the theory of peace is. As Mr. Khurram said earlier, we have 4 elements or components we were born with: our heart, our mind, our body, and our soul. He noticed that in our day-to-day, we struggle with prioritizing, and we end up just focusing on one element at a time. The theory of peace is here to help us as a people figure out how to take care of all 4 elements simultaneously. Before I go into what the theory of peace is, why don't we define what peace itself is? Through my research, I was able to discover that the word peace itself, given by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, means a state of tranquility or quietness. And a lack of peace in our world can cause things like mental disorders, stress, violence, or even spiritual disconnection. How does a lack of peace affect each element? How does it affect our heart? How does it affect our mind, our body, and our soul? Heart. The NIH, which is the National Institute of Health, has shown that a lack of peace in a person can lead to things like heart problems, heart attacks, stress can have an increase in things like that. Next, our mind. A lack of peace has been shown to have mental problems and even affecting a person's mental development, which can cause things like memory loss. Body. Our body ends up suppressing emotions like worrying, stress, anger, and materialize it as body pains, body aches, and even muscle tension. When you're sitting at a desk all day, you're worrying about deadlines, you end up feeling it in your body, whether it be neck pain, back pain, leg pain, you just feel uncomfortable and unwell, even in sickness. So, a lack of peace has been shown to develop into spiritual apathy, which is a disconnection with your spirit and a loss of desire to grow passion. As you said earlier, we fail to take care of all four elements simultaneously. But now that we brought the problem to hand, how can we work against it? How can we solve it? These 4 steps, if taken, we can increase our chances of having better peace in our life. First, heart. Loving unconditionally. Loving your neighbor, loving your friend, your coworker, your family is a great way to boost peace in your life. You and I as a person, we need to take care of our mind. Ignorance is shown to have been one of the major causes of hate. If you don't understand something, how can you love it? Educating ourselves is a good way of working against conflicts and viewing another person's perspective. Body. Self-compassion is something we struggle with a lot nowadays. Even people my age, body dysmorphia is a big thing we all struggle with in our day-to-day lives. You look at other people and you feel, I should look like that, or I should have that body, I should do this, I should do that. But what we're here to do, we can work against that by saying daily affirmations. Speaking to yourself, saying, I love myself, I care for myself, I'm the best. How can you love other people if you don't love yourself? We need to start with ourselves.
Yeah.
Last but not least, our soul. Human beings are social creatures. We are supposed to be outside talking with one another. When you've been inside all day, you feel drained of emotional energy and you can't function properly in society. So connecting with nature is a good way to work against that. So using these 4 steps in our day-to-day life is how we can work towards peace. How we can implement it in our social lives, in our family lives, in our personal lives, in our business lives. So thank you, and that's been my little piece. I'm gonna give it back to Mr. Kareem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sharon. It was wonderful. And you see, I trained her only 3 weeks, and that's what the outcome is. Now, somebody I've been working on past 2 years. Kevon, can you please come on over? So Kevon was our student 2 years ago, and which school you came from?
JCR, J. Clark.
J. Clark. Okay. So he's a good man. He's a good soul, but he's very shy. Now the problem with the shyness is it usually works in the rooms and all that, in the houses, but in the world of the business, in the world of the workplaces, you got to speak up. But if you don't know how to speak up, or if you don't have a coaching or training or mentoring to speak up with the confidence, the body language, the words, the vocabulary, how are you going to do that? So I did try to spend the time, but as you know, as a student, curriculum, we have to follow the guidelines, we have to follow, so many things, they say, do certain things, say certain things, and the education part of was also matter. I really like to work with individuals who needed help and improve them. So just tell us a few lines about yourself and about your experience working at Digipix.
All right. As you said, I'm Kevon. I came from JCR. I worked in Digipix in grade 11 when I was taking co-op 2024 to 2025. And working here was, it was great, honestly. It was professional, it was calm. When comparing it to other co-ops, I asked my friends, they said, oh, my employer yells at me, he chastises me for making mistakes. He's like, wow, that never happened to me here. Yeah, so, he's a good man. And came to me, just a few days ago. Came to me about the theory of peace. He asked me if I was at peace. I blanked because you never really know when you're at peace because unless you really look at yourself and really think about the heart, body, and mind. So I just wanted to come out here, say I support the theory of peace and all that he's doing because I know he's a good man and.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a good speech. I appreciate that. So that is the thing, and working with the young souls as much as also the old soul, the Raimundo, who's recovering slowly. It's been almost a year that is there. So I just text him and he said that he's doing okay, but not fully recovered. I say, just meet for the breakfast. Let's meet up, because I want to stay in touch. But nevertheless, I realized this thing is not easy. It's just not easy until you go through it, you realize it. It's just not easy. And the people who provide the care for that, I want to salute them. How they listen and process and all that and help that. So I'm here to help and I'm here to assist and love to work with you. And I need the counseling and guidance to how to articulate for myself and my clients and my students and all that. So another piece of the presentation I wanted to show that people are writers, singers, composers, rappers. I'm a quote master. And what the quote master is, they say the quote about spirituality, life in general, business, improvement, self-care, wellness, and all of those things in between. So those are my few quotes which I've said over the period of past 20 years, but they start to appear to me in my brain mainly from past in the COVID times. I was getting mainly coming into them, but whatever I was counseling, consulting, and advising students or my clients, something come up really naturally, and with that I say, okay, let's write it down. So this is the sum of our presentation. Then we'll open the floor for the Q&A. So yes.
I love this. It reminds me very much of the medicine wheel teaching. So spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical, and balancing those.
Yes.
To find that piece. So I think I see its roots in that as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you.
I would echo what Caitlin said, and it is very similar as well to what I practice as a Christian in terms of being what we don't break it up into four, but three. So mind, spirit, and body, or soul, spirit, body, and that any one of them being out of whack affects how we show up and how we're able to be in the world. The difference with what I believe is that it's not something that we can just find on our own within ourselves, but there is a God who gives us that ability. And so that would be kind of what I believe, but I do very much see the importance of each of these areas being something that we focus on, regardless of what people believe. I do know that there is statistical proof that when people start to look into their well-being, they are naturally better. And I believe in cause and effect. I believe that there are laws. And so the laws that were put into motion, regardless, they do have an actualization.
Correct.
And so in that sense, I think that I can truly identify with what you were saying. And what I learned today and really appreciate and will look into some more is the idea of how we're developed and then how we leave the earth. I thought that was really profound.
Yes.
That explanation I had not seen it in that way, although I've heard, the last thing to go is your hearing and these different things.
Yes.
But the way that you kind of presented it in terms of what's developed first, the heartbeat is what people and those types of things, what you can hear first anyways. But all of these things and how they develop, I thought was really interesting and just made me think. So I appreciate that,
Thank you, Marla.
that angle and that perspective.
Thank you, Marla. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate how you presented, you projected. I just
Oh
want to
my
say,
God. As you can
took
say,
up space and-
I'm nervous and she's my support today. So good, so good. And she's such a great speaker, so natural speaker. And she we put it all together. And just this small presentation took enormous amount of time. But I said, let's do that. And you were the perfect crowd. So with that, what I'm also observing is the man in journal who needs help. If you see your clients count majorly, in my opinion, what I saw are men more than a woman. What's happening? Why? Men are putting the boundaries around ourselves and not talking. So this is 3 days ago, I will just pass it on. I saw this on TV and I took a picture that the minister of Canada is talking about focus on men. It's about that we speak about men. And this is what he says. So I took the picture and literally printed it out so you can be able to see, we need to work harder on the men. And young men, you saw the comparison, they need help. They just, they get distracting so easily. Friend distracting them, video game distracting them, any new toy comes in distracting them. But compared to the girls, what I found, they focus. And they're just nurturing nature, being as a mother, teaching them a lot earlier so they can mature early. But society is not waiting for you to maturity. Society gauges you by producing the results. So whether you're mature or not mature, but men are not catching up. So that's a gap I wanted to fulfill. But definitely there are protocols. My organization, Digipix, is not expert in this. So definitely would need your help to work to set some programs, set some protocols, boundaries, and I write those protocols and boundaries and corporation manuals for the organization. But for this one, definitely it would be honor to work with you. Speaking of the quotes, Marla, you were reading it. So let me say the ultimate quote for the theory of peace.
Why wait to rest in peace while you can live in peace?
That's a good one.
There we go. And I let Sharon say that because, we practice it, and the last time I forget. So I wanted to, say it again louder.
Why wait to rest in peace while you can live in peace?
So people always wait. I'm going to rest. say. And if you see it, there's no connection of money we put in this equation, in this theory. There's no love, you have a wife or children or husband, nothing. No physical attachment to this theory. If you have this theory, you are happy in cage, alone in an island, in a mountain, or in your bedroom, wherever you are.
I thought about that in my bedroom with the door closed.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
I know. But we need to transcode it to the public, especially men. They just not absorbing. So the words hydrophobic, you put that spray so water doesn't stain on you. But we need kind of mix, they listening to information but not taking it. In schools, Pastor, allow me to say that they're taking typing out. I just let 2 students go. They don't even know what the right click is, what the control copy is, what the paste is, what the URL is.
Well, they're just taking 2 fingers
That's it. And what happened, guess what? They're giving them Chromebook to do it. So they're not even using the mouse from past 5 years. So when I'm saying that right click on the mouse, I was looking like a dinosaur giving them some instruction. What right click, what's the right click? That's a pad. And pad lately, it's especially Apple, machines coming single pad, not even buttons on it. They're hidden inside.
You still have right and left side though.
Right side, but they don't know it, right? So when I was telling them to do it, they were bringing her hand right to the pad. I said, lady, listen, that's right there. And scroll it. I will scroll. So that's, I'm working with the school teacher. Like I talk to the teacher to bring the change. And what she say, before this, we want you to work with the Doug Ford and the ministers to sign our contract, because we're working without contracts right now. So that's stressing us out. So that stress goes through the student. So that's my first focus is, I say, okay, I will work with that, but what you can do for the students? She say, I can tell you, but I cannot be able to follow because of the restriction by the board, right? So Durham District School Board and all that. So we shouldn't bring politics into the hospitals and the educational system, but these are the things needed to be taught. But whatever we can be able to do, we can in our capacity. And I'm so grateful and thankful for you all listening to me, and if you have any question, final thought, please let me know. Pastor Frederica, you
Well,
want to
this
say
is
anything?
great. It really is, because one of the things that I struggle with people is that I'm finding that there's such a low self-worth, peace, and that's why people don't have peace, because they're always striving, and in striving, the competition takes on somebody instead of building up who you are. And I find that when you're happy with you, you bring peace to other people.
Right.
And even in the field that we work, this is very important for workers even, because how are we going to bring peace to somebody else? We don't have peace
Correct.
in ourselves,
Yes.
So I'm always pushing in those areas. So I really like what you're doing. Of course, I'd like to see a lot more developed inside
Sure.
of it,
Sure.
because I think in these 4 pieces, I won't write it for you because I got too many things on my head. I've got books I'm trying to write right now.
I
But
know.
if you ever want to sit down and just
Yes.
talk, I'd be willing. You can scribe, because
Yeah,
this is
sure.
very important.
Yes.
I tell my church, there's only one striving we have to do, and that is to enter into peace. That's part of our scriptures.
Okay.
That's the only striving is to enter into peace.
Okay.
There is a peace, my scripture says, for the people. Strive to enter into that rest.
Very good.
Because there's a rest that at 71, I don't feel any different than when I was 17. My body is not quite keeping up to that, but internally,
Yeah.
I'm still there. I'm still there. I still see things that
Yes.
needs to get done.
Yes.
We're building orphanage in Congo, and we're building wells and schools and churches in Zambia, taking care of boys in Tanzania, and there's a lot more in Cuba, feeding the poor and looking after people in India, doing all those things and keeping up. Why? Because there's a peace that helps you to help mankind.
Yes.
So it isn't about who you are, what you're not.
Yes.
It's about there's a peace. And you talked about the balance. Our souls are eternal. They never die. When this die. Not everybody believes that, but
Yeah.
I
Right.
do.
Yeah.
And so what you live today, you're living for eternity. So it is important that we all come into what we call harmony
Yes.
or peace. We did the medicine wheel. I did the medicine wheel. But there's a missing piece in the medicine wheel. Why sometimes they are not finding it. That's because they have not come into that harmony of knowing,
Yes.
that there is, I believe in the Creator. I do believe in Him. And so when I understand that, it makes sense. And I can find peace. And in that peace, there's rest. That even when I'm going, people say, why are you? I'm not worn out. When I'm tired, I go sleep or go on a vacation. But there is a rest in what you do. So,
Right.
don't be nervous about what you've gone through. If you hadn't gone through that, you wouldn't be able to write this.
True. True.
And I hope that you can come out to that meeting we're having down at the community center tonight,
Yeah.
because it's one on homelessness.
Yes.
People didn't just become homeless. I said something and then I saw it in a commercial. I'm chatting too much, but forgive me. I saw something, I shared it with somebody, and then I saw it on a commercial being played out.
Okay.
And I used it, and I says, nobody woke up and said, I want to be homeless. No child ever, when you ask them, said.
You're right.
And then somebody did a commercial with that, with all these children saying, I want to be this, I want to be this, and one said, I want to be homeless. That's shocking. That's meant to give that shock. Because no child ever said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there are situations in life that we all go through.
Yes.
And but for grace, any of us can end up in a situation. What kept me is because of this.
Correct.
Like Mara said, we believe in 3 pieces, which, we can put the mind and the soul into one.
Yes.
That's why we have
Yeah.
3,
Yes.
the mind and the soul into one. And that brings harmony. And yet a lot of the people still don't get it, you see, because you're still striving
Right.
to be. When you know who you are, you don't have to try to be.
Right.
You already are.
You're right.
You know, so this is wonderful.
Okay.
And congratulations.
Thank you very
You
much.
did very well.
Thank you.
Very well. I hope you will reach your dream and your goal.
Yes, we're gonna work on it together. With this, there are some unwritten and unexplained laws of attraction, laws of vibration, like music therapy, like, aromatherapy and some other therapies. So I'm discovering it all.
Right.
And what I'm doing is, as a consultant, like when you work as a consultant, you can critique respectfully and you can gain the knowledge. So I talk to the doctors, to my naturopathic doctor, and I would like to make a formal introduction to him too soon. So why don't you talk about it openly? So he say, because of my College of Medicine, I have certain restrictions, I cannot speak up. So for you staff, thank you very much. And you go through a lot of stress. I found a really, really good book that if you do the affirmations that I'm good, I'm happy, I'm the best, and I'm making the best in my life, this book is for you. So I want you to read this book, like, just open any page and it may reflect to you. May God bless
Are you
you.
giving it to us?
You can keep it, but I have limited copies. Yes,
Well, the reason I ask is because, obviously for all of us to read it.
yes. I know. All right.
If it's to us, then we would probably go through it maybe in some of our meetings. So I just
Sure.
wanted to get the content.
So keep it, but return.
I have loads of affirmation books.
Me too. I have some in
They're getting
my
dusty.
office.
We should use them.
I have
But
lots in my office there.
but this is really good one. Like, just for the counseling, it can help. Like, for the people who are giving therapy, it can help. Now with this, like, just we want to conclude our meeting. If you don't have any questions, hey, she found something.
It's a bad one for me.
No, nothing is bad. She was saying something. Say something about the word
That's why
hate.
we need to say it. So it becomes a reality.
Ignorance is a big cause of hate, like not knowing. You can't love what you don't know.
Yes. And we want to, like, she was saying, like, the hate is a bad word. And I was firm on this. We need to take the hate word out of the dictionary. It shouldn't exist. Like, some words are like that are not, like, good for the people. So, and I brought this, a little gift of chocolate for you ladies. And I do have one last piece to show. So, this is the, like, the 20th anniversary picture.
Oh my gosh!
I know.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, you're good. You're good. I'm not looking at,
Affirmations.
but look at pay attention. Like, what are the odds that I happen to be here as your tenant, come up with the theory, and my pastor is there, like, the landlord and all that. And I went there and just casually, like, give it to her, and then she took it. But pay attention. She's looking after me like a queen of England. And Pastor Frederica, you set it up, this one. Stand here, stand there, stand there. She was the one who took picture. So with the pastor, by the pastor, and like, so I just wanted to, like, give you this, to this. And I put everybody's name, and I think, Heather, I may forgot your name.
That.
Please, like,
I put that up.
yes, I put today's date because it was a big day. And it's just like, lots of love and laughter, like, we wanted to bring. But sometimes even, that's why, like, if you see, like, policemen and military individuals, they go through such a stress that they start to harming themselves and their loved ones without even knowing it. So I'm working with the doctors, psychologists, and, like, healthcare practitioners to change that. And I'm asking the real questions. Fix me, and I will expose you to the world, to the rightful people to fix the world in large. So it is time we speak up. It's time we do the change. And if you put the faith and trust in me, we will bring the change in home. And Ajax is the pinnacle of change in Canada.
Thank you. And may I use this quote tonight?
Yes,
Great
ma'am.
people discuss ideas. Good people discuss events. Average people discuss other people.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And what an idea.
Yeah.
How can we do an event changes? Thank
Yes,
you.
exactly. Thank you very much.
And I must say, the very first picture I did professional here, you took it.
Yeah, I still
And
have
that's
it.
for the first award that I got from the African Canadian Achievement.
Yeah.
I was awarded at the same time as John Tory,
Yeah.
as the past police president and winner.
Yeah.
I received it in 19.
So thank you very much. And I'm here, where I work. So just knock at the door whenever you stress out, like come in casually. Like when the Rob Vivian was here,
Yes.
like he just opened the door. You want coffee or something? Like we come by. COVID changed a lot.
It did.
Like it creates the boundaries without seeing it. Let's shadow those boundaries.
Yeah.
Let's
I agree with you.
put those walls down and notice black young men needs more
Well, I was
attention.
about to tell you that with our black young men, they are traumatized from the day they are born. And black mothers are traumatized because they worry for their sons from the day they're born. As a mother once I worried from the day he was born
My God.
until the day he died. Because there is a perception that you got to protect them from. And because of that, they go into school and they're already judged and castricized, and they don't see themselves valuing anything. And this is why the gang members are having a field day today, because they give them self-worth. And this is something that I want to work on. And there are groups right now that's working diligently and pushing against the stereotypes, pushing against the systems
Okay.
to change some of that. So,
Okay.
Fifth Estate did an amazing piece, which took part of it from right here in Ajax, of the things that are happening to a lot of the black young men. So when you see them like that, they either become paranoid because they're so afraid of being out there. You don't have to do anything to be accused. So some of them just go all out and do whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel for him because I know what he's going through as a mother. I do know that.
Yeah. Very
You know, and even when they do get to the top, getting a job, they're passed over by everybody. They're second pick to everybody. So no matter how brilliant they are,
Yes.
so it's like I'm speaking truth here.
Yes.
So it's like
Yeah.
a futile, situation, and that's where we are in the world. So
You're taking a lot on you, so thank you very much to Pastor Frederica. And let me work with you, especially on the men's sector. Let me work hand in hand with you and set a great example. And maybe God also bless you two beautiful grandsons too, through Marla. And that is also we need to work on. So let's work together and look after to working with you all. So thank you very much for your time.
thank
And
you.
coming over.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.